My name's Calvin Waite, and I trade Bitcoin and cryptocurrency for a living. Well, you know what? You cannot predict perfectly what investors will do. I thought we needed a better handoff between the bottom here and the top here, but apparently investors thought, you know what? We've touched. We've done a handoff. We're moving on. So in my last video, I said within 7 days we should head up to 12,000. Well, look at this beautiful breakout today. We are above the bodies of our last set of candles that are on our upswing here. And obviously this is higher than everything else in the past month and a half. So we are having a sweet day today. I would not be surprised if we touch 12,000 within the next 24 hours because of this move here. What I would likely see, I bet we'll get this next move, I believe will get us to about 12,500. And then we will just have to see, because above 12,500, that's where we're going to be at the mercy of the emotions of the market. And I don't think it'll take us too long before we touch 14,000. So this little move here might have given us enough strength to get boosted up to at least 12,500. And if we hit 14, there could be a cool off period where we'll need to come back and regain strength at 12.5-ish. But boy, there's nothing but blue sky above 14,000, guys. It is, there's nothing to stop us from hitting 20,000. So if we hit 20,000 before the end of the year, I will be bragging it up that I called that. So hopefully I'm right and you guys can hear some sweet bragging. So this is in honor of the IMF telling everybody that there's going to be a financial reset. So this guy is crypto. The roof is the rest of the financial world. So today we're having such a good day on Bitcoin, and our Bitcoin dominance is also doing some moves that I wanted to talk about. Just to kind of recap, in the beginning of 2018, as Bitcoin price dropped, Bitcoin dominance increased. So that meant that our altcoin market was selling off like crazy, faster than Bitcoin was selling off. Then we had a period of time where Bitcoin was increasing, and for some reason, our Bitcoin dominance increased also. So that means that the alts were not catching up. Bitcoin was increasing faster than alts, and Bitcoin was going up. So we've kind of been in tandem for a little while now, all the way until the coronavirus thing. Our Bitcoin price has been going up and our Bitcoin dominance has been going down. So we've had a little bit of an alt season for the past few months, but now we are in this final month where our Bitcoin dominance has increased and our Bitcoin price is increasing. So we are starting to trend up in Bitcoin dominance and in price. So the question is what is that going to do to alts? Individually, looking across the alt market, things were showing signs of strength and things had slightly started to turn. But today, the alts are not looking quite as hot. So kind of wanted to kind of dig into this Bitcoin dominance and see if there's any other bits of information we can get from this. So if I go to the daily chart, there is a very, very strong and obvious pattern forming. And I know you all can probably see it by now. It really doesn't have a historical precedence. It has just sort of begun in the most recent past. But it is a line that has started kind of in the middle of this. I'll take it down well, I kind of want to capture the bodies, so this is kind of where I'm after. So you can see that this does not touch the line. Neither does this. This was our first body that actually touched this line. But you can see that the sense is that we are having a Bitcoin dominance resistance at this line where Bitcoin is trying to create dominance. And we are having more dominance as time progresses. So what does that tell us as a trader? That tells us that most likely, if we get above this, Bitcoin will start to run and it will take dominance over the other markets. So I'm starting to get the sense that we may need to be a little careful going too heavy into alts yet. Even though there are some good signs, this is looking very, this is about to break. This is just a matter of time. And in fact, in the next couple of days, it'll probably break, especially if Bitcoin hits 12,500 or does something really, really wild. Bitcoin dominance is likely to increase, which means the alt market is going to sell off a little more. So you'll want to just keep that in mind. It is not, I mean, this is not guaranteed, but there is definitely a pattern here. If we go back out to the weekly, our last handoff happened up here, about 62%. And this is where we found support, and then this is where we dropped through. So if we do break through this, we will likely see a run to at least 62%. Whether it'll continue or not is debatable, but there is definitely a line here. I'm going to go ahead and put it on the weekly chart, and I'm using the bodies of these candles to give that number to us. So going back to daily, this is our gap here. We could see a pretty decent swing, which means alts might be getting killed for a couple of days. So if you're on the fence with something, or if it's starting to show signs, it might be time to be a little patient and wait for alts to have a swing high and catch it on the swing low, or wait for another swing low to confirm higher highs if you're looking at alts. So just keep your eye on that. It's going to be fireworks for Bitcoin, and it looks like that might be the big payday if you're trading. A blockchain is perfectly public, so at any time you can look at a full node, or you can go to a block explorer online. You can look and see exactly how many Bitcoins are in existence at any given time. So every single one of those Bitcoin is publicly accounted for. There's no shadiness, there's no gray area, there's no wondering if more Bitcoin are going to suddenly show up on the map out of nowhere. And the fact that there will only be 21 million makes Bitcoin, in my mind, it became a little bit more desirable because I could see that there was something here. And the fact that it was rare made it financially interesting to me. So in my background, I did a lot of trading. My first assets that I learned to trade were foreign exchange, so currency markets. And being able to understand the concept of one currency strengthening or weakening against another currency has really helped me understand the concept of Bitcoin in the market sense. But I also invested in stocks and did options trading and even so I kind of got into a whole bunch of variety of things. But the thing that always bothered me, especially about stocks, was that at any given time, so a company is supposed to be giving value to its shareholders. That's generally how public companies work. They're supposed to make good decisions and create value for shareholders. That's sort of the mantra of the publicly owned corporation. But I argue that that is not generally followed very well. And the reason why is because companies have grand ideas. They have ideas, they want to make something bigger and better, and they're always looking for investment. They're looking for more money, they're looking to grow, they're looking to expand. And as a CEO makes his company successful, he suddenly has liquidity available to him, because if his stock price goes up, he can go, hey, it's time to expand. We're gonna buy another company. And you know how we're gonna do this? We're gonna invent out of thin air maybe 500,000 shares of stock. We're gonna sell those to more investors, or put them out on the open market. We're gonna raise all this money from this public offering, and we're gonna go buy a company, or we're gonna do whatever it is, and expand. So what does that do to the money supply? So money supply of those shares of stock. Those shares of stock are now diluted, right? So the original investors that had held and were true to the company, they now hold a smaller percentage of the total amount of shares. And in my mind, this drove me nuts. Like, it really bothered me that at the very best, you hold your stocks through a certain period of time, and finally it's worth so much that the CEO is ready to print more and dump them on the market. And so I got a little, it gets a little frustrating, because there's a push and a pull between where can I put my money in a place that the money supply or the underlying currency doesn't get inflated. Well, you guys are living in an amazing time, because never in the history of the world has the government printed so much money in such a short period of time. This has never happened. This is,
we're so fortunate.
Unfathomable. Yeah, I'm so fortunate. This is unbelievable, guys. Like, I can't even believe. I heard a statistic recently that said 22% of all dollar bills in circulation were printed in 2020. That is terrifying. Because when you flood the market with a currency, it makes everything else less valuable. And so same with the stock concept. When the CEO can decide with board approval that he can invent a certain number of shares and just poof out of thin air, like that is difficult for me to swallow from an investor standpoint. I like to have something that can retain its value in some way. So when I discovered that Bitcoin not only had a limit of 21 million, but also that it was publicly verifiable every second of every day, that economy was so transparent to me that it completely blew my mind. I seriously, it's so refreshing to find something that is transparent. And not only that, but I also know how many Bitcoin there will be roughly 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 20 years from now. I can generally get a pretty good idea of exactly what that money supply will look like. And I can plan for that in advance. And so the economics are completely on the table, which makes Bitcoin absolutely singular. Hey, thanks for hanging on till the end of the video. If you liked anything I said, please support the channel by subscribing. If not, feel free to leave a comment, and I'd be happy to take a look and make improvements to the channel so it'll be better next time.